Hey, what's up, guys? Brian Barrera, CEO for LC Innovation here. I'm here to talk to you about the Los Angeles Lakers and their culture. Man, it's been really fun watching the Lakers this year. They're off to a good start, but they just look like they're gelling well. They look like they're playing well together. I did a piece recently, a video on Yamamoto, the Dodgers and their culture. How Yamamoto said no to more money with three other teams, I believe, to join the Dodgers, and I believe he joined to be a part of what they were building, their culture that they were building. I've literally dealt with business owners, millionaires who are like, culture is not real. Culture is not real. Product is real. People are real. I don't know what they're talking about. And I know you're probably thinking, well, they're millionaires. They must be doing something right. Yeah, that doesn't mean they're good people, though. That doesn't mean that they're going to live a long, sustained life with this business that they have. They might just be rich at the moment. Culture is real. Culture is beautiful. Cultural can be nasty sometimes, but culture is real, and it's very, very important. But I want to go through a timeline with you guys real quick before we jump into what I want to talk about, because it all feeds into that, right? So the Lakers, the younger Buss brothers were in charge of the Lakers player development and scouting, and they drafted all these gems in the late first round and the second round, excluding Lonzo Ball because he was a lottery pick, and they probably should have drafted Jason Tatum instead of him. But because they drafted Lonzo Ball, they were able to get Anthony Davis later on. But right now, right before LeBron, or some of them during LeBron, but most of them before LeBron, they drafted Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance Jr., Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle, Alex Caruso, Austin Reeves, Kyle Kuzma. Austin Reeves was after they got LeBron. But I'm saying in the last 5 to 10 years, this is who they've drafted: Austin Reeves, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, Taylor Horton Tucker, Max Christie, a bunch of other people as well. But those are the most notable ones. So then, around this time, when they start drafting gems like this, they end up signing LeBron James. So LeBron James came to Lakers for nothing. He really did. There was no other superstar that was paired with him to come to the Lakers. He was trying to bring people, but LeBron really brought the Lakers back to relevance. Nobody wanted to come here. Dwight Howard didn't want to come here. Other free agents didn't want to come here. LeBron wanted to come to LA. Now, to the people calling LeBron James the greatest basketball player of all time, if he is the greatest basketball player of all time and he's playing for the greatest franchise of all time, what better story is there than that? And LeBron owns the Celtics, right? He owns the Celtics. He has a great record against the Celtics. That's why so many Celtics ex-players and fans hate him so much. But LeBron, imagine him winning a championship against the Boston Celtics in a Lakers uniform as the greatest basketball player of all time. I personally don't think he's the greatest basketball player of all time. I put him at number 2 or number 3, depending on what day of the week it is. But he's up there. He's up there. And if you think he's the greatest of all time, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to deny it either. I agree, but I just see it a little bit differently. But LeBron's up there, man. And I used to be a LeBron hater, but when he joined the Lakers and he wanted to be a part of that storied franchise, you got to think about it. He already had a dynasty with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. We can tear that apart all we want, that it was a super team. He still had a dynasty. You still got to win games. You still have to build a roster around that core. They made the championship 4 years in a row and they won 2. They should have won all 4, but they won 2. That was a dynasty, right? Then he goes back to Cleveland and he wins a hometown championship for the team. I don't think he ever won an NBA Finals before that, but he wins one with his hometown team. So he had the dynasty. He won it for his hometown team. Now he wants to play at the biggest stage. He wants to be the greatest player at the biggest stage. What better documentary, book, or even movie than that? I mean, seriously, like him playing for the storied Lakers and being the best team on there. And hopefully in the next few years, if he makes it for the next few years, he beats the Lakers he beats the Celtics in a 7-game series, right? So cool. But yeah, so LeBron joins the Lakers. No one else is joining. Clutch Sports manages it with Rich Paul. They bring in some players on discounted rates or discounted years, higher annual salary, but not multiple year contracts, just a 1-year contract. In return, they get to play on a big stage and they get to get a bigger contract from another team the next summer, right? That happened like 3 times with the Lakers through clutch players. Then they trade for Anthony Davis. So some of those players that I mentioned end up getting traded for Anthony Davis. Lonzo Ball, Julius Randle, I think Larry Nance Jr., I believe. They end up getting traded for Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis comes to LA. I forgot to mention Magic. The first part was that LeBron brought the Lakers back to relevance. He wanted to come to LA. The second part why he came to LA was because Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, especially Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was instrumental in bringing in LeBron James. Jeanie Buss hired Magic Johnson back, right? She's been close friends with Magic Johnson for a long time, back to the 80s Showtime Lakers. She's always been close to Magic, and she hires her very close friend back to the franchise to run operations and to oversee Rob Pelinka as the GM. Great stuff. They bring in LeBron. Now let's go back. Then they get Anthony Davis. Magic Johnson leaves. They made a mistake by trading Ivica Zubac for Mike Muscala. Very big mistake. But they end up getting Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis ends up winning us a championship with LeBron James in 2020. You could call it the Mickey Mouse Championship as much as you want. But here's the funny thing. I think O'Shea Jackson Jr., somebody else, Ice Cube's son, or somebody else, they just posted that if Michael Jordan won a championship in 2020, that Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith would be saying, look how Jordan won a championship during a pandemic. Look how he willed his team to win a championship during a pandemic. And it's funny because I could see them saying that because he could do no wrong in their eyes. I believe Jordan's the greatest of all time, by the way. And LeBron is either, once again, it depends on the day of the week. LeBron's either a close second or a close third. But anyways, so they win a championship. Then they use some of those players to go out. Then in 2021, they're up 2-1 in the first round against the Phoenix Suns. They're up 2-1. It's game 4. They have a double-digit lead. Anthony Davis is balling. Anthony Davis gets hurt. The Phoenix Suns end up winning the series, and they go to the NBA Finals to lose against the Bucks. I'm sorry. I hate having these arguments, but an argument could be said that if Anthony Davis doesn't get hurt, it could have been their second championship. Anyways, when he got hurt, some of the players that were supposed to step up didn't step up. Then they ended up trading those players for Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook comes on board. They don't do exactly what they're supposed to do. Somehow, for some reason, it just didn't fit. I'm a big Russell Westbrook guy. He plays with so much intensity. He plays hardcore every single play. I love watching Westbrook play. I love what he's doing with the Sacramento Kings right now. He's getting triple doubles again. He's averaging 16 points a game with like six rebounds and 5 assists. He's tearing it up. He's doing a great job. But it just didn't work. I think it didn't work because Russell didn't match LeBron's game and Anthony Davis's game. I think they needed a sharpshooter, someone who could score on the fly, who when they needed him to score 30 points, he could score 30 points. They needed somebody like that, somebody with a great 3-point percentage, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work out. Now, once again, it was no one's fault. It just didn't fit. So then they trade Russell Westbrook. And then during that time, they had an incredible deadline where they got Jared Vanderbilt, Rui Hachimura, D'Angelo Russell, and they also got Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba and D'Angelo Russell obviously left the team. But when we talk about Rui Hachimura and Jared Vanderbilt, we're going to talk about them more later. So that happens around that time. Anthony Davis is still one of my favorite players. You look at Anthony Davis and his skill set, you're talking about a mix between Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, Pau Gasol, Rasheed Wallace. You think about those long, lanky power forward / centers. They're a power forward, but they could also play center if they have to. Anthony Davis is like a hybrid of all those guys in talent-wise, right? Obviously a little bit injury prone, but I'm a huge Davis fan. I'm a huge Gasol fan. Kevin Garnett, Tim Duncan, huge fan of theirs. But yeah, so they trade Russell Westbrook. They had great deadline deals for these guys. They drafted Austin Reeves. They mistakenly let Alex Caruso walk for nothing. I think the player option on him was like $8 million or something, and they just let him walk. It's just crazy. And by the way, they never traded Julius Randle. They also let Julius Randle walk, I believe, because they didn't pick up his player option. But I believe Randle also left. Or he could have been traded. I forgot. Sorry, I keep this raw and uncut. If I made a mistake, I apologize. But yeah, you could beat me up about it later. But so now they got great deadline deals. They've drafted incredible players, made a couple mistakes with Zubac and Alex Caruso. They got LeBron. They got Anthony Davis. Then they go out and they trade Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, before they trade Anthony Davis, let's talk about JJ Redick being the podcast buddy for LeBron. Oh, yeah, he's just got his podcast buddy in there. A lot of people were upset saying JJ Redick's not a good coach, that there's a lot of coaches out there, real coaches with real experience that should have got the gig before him. What happened with Darvin Ham? Darvin Ham, I would have done that hire. Darvin Ham had a great resume. I would have hired Darvin Ham. And based on what LeBron and Anthony Davis needed, I believe they needed a players coach that's going to talk to them and is going to work with them and strategize with them. And he was the perfect fit. He really was with his resume. Obviously, it didn't work out. I think he trusted his players a little too much, where he wasn't doing enough play calling and drawing up stuff on the board. You guys saw all the videos and the memes online. Just didn't work out. And then I forgot to mention Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel meshed very well with Anthony Davis because they're both defensive minded. I think Vogel also wasn't a good fit though, because I think Vogel had certain players like Avery Bradley and just other players that he really, really liked. And I don't think that Vogel trusted younger players enough. And let me say why. Mike Tomlin from the Pittsburgh Steelers, he recently was quoted saying that it's his job as coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers to give everybody a shot on the team, even the young players, just so he can evaluate talent and promote talent. Don't quote me verbatim, but it was amongst those lines. That's what a coach does. That's what a leader does. They don't just have their favorites. They give everybody a chance. It's whoever is best for the organization. And by knowing who the best is for the organization, they have to give everybody a shot. Even the young bucks who are wet behind the ears and don't have enough experience just yet. You have to find the diamonds in the rough. Let's jump back to JJ Redick. He's the podcast buddy, right? He doesn't deserve to have it. There's other coaches should have it. Okay, well look what he's done now, right? He got Picha Kucha into the system of the Lakers, right? Which is a Japanese inspired storytelling presentation to get people to talk, to be vulnerable with each other, to look at each other as a human being, to build that chemistry and that camaraderie, right? You're probably laughing at this, but man, this is so important. This is the culture that I'm talking about, right? This is by Kobe Price. Great article. Then right here, Lakers are getting something from everybody from Mike Trudell. This one pretty much talks about JJ giving the confidence to his players and the players showing that confidence on the floor, which is allowing them to win, which is why the Lakers are getting something from everybody. Incredible stuff. But do I believe that JJ was that? Do I think he is the culture builder? No, he's not. To me, JJ was the missing piece, which does have to do with bringing the culture together. Absolutely. He is the missing piece. He's what they were missing in Vogel and in Ham. He was. And it was LeBron, his podcast buddy, who brought him in for the interview. You know LeBron had influence in it. He did. You know he had influence in it. You know LeBron had influence in bringing Anthony Davis to the Lakers, bringing in those clutch players to the Lakers. He did. But this is what I'm talking about. I don't think that LeBron gets enough credit. I think we look at everything he does negatively, but his handprints are on every single thing the Lakers have done. I do believe that he had a say so in Anthony Davis being traded for Luka Doncic, and I think he said yes. You look at LeBron, people are saying every time he sits there for 5 minutes and zones out, they say he's miserable. He can't wait to leave. The Lakers drafted his son. His son should be in the NBA, by the way. He's that good at defense. He's a defensive juggernaut. But they drafted his son. He has a beautiful home in LA. He loves LA. He brought us back to relevance. He's not going nowhere, and I'll be very surprised if he does. He's not going nowhere. He's not. I believe he was instrumental in bringing in Luka. I think they did have to ask him, do you approve this because we want you on board? And he did so. Jeanie Buss doesn't get enough credit. She brought in LeBron. She brought in Magic Johnson to bring in LeBron, even though I believe LeBron was already coming. Magic was still instrumental, but she knew it would only add value to the organization, which it did. So Jeanie brought back. Jeanie kept her brothers in the player development group, drafting all this draft capital, human capital. We've talked about culture, right, before. But look at all that stuff. Look at the culture they're building. Now they have another superstar in Luka. But look at what JJ, the hole that the void that he's filled. Look at what he's done. Look at Austin Reeves' numbers. Look at the Jake LaRavia signing. Right? Look at Rui Hachimura averaging 16 points a game. Rui's never lived up to his potential, but now he finally has. He's a very solid Aaron Gordon type role player. I think the Denver Nuggets are going to win the championship. By the way, I think Aaron Gordon has reached another level, and I think Jokic and Jamal Murray are letting him play his game as long as it doesn't hurt the overall organization. They're letting him do what he's got to do, and he is balling this year. I think the Nuggets are going to win a second championship. I think they might play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, by the way. But look at Reeves' numbers. Look at his three-point made and three-point attempts. It's gone up. Look at his two-pointers made and two-point attempts. Got up a lot. Made and attempts. But look at his free throws. 9.1 makes a game and attempts at a 10.4. His three-pointers have gone up. His two-point shots have gone up, and his free throws have gone up. I think his three-pointer is very, very threatening to other teams. You really got to watch out for his three-pointer. Look at LeBron. His career has gone even longer because he developed such a good three-point shot. A lot of you LeBron fanatics are going to say he's always had a good three-point shot. Yeah, he has, but he's never shot this many threes. He's shooting more threes, and his percentage is staying the same or going up. Last year, he was at 41%, I believe. So his three-point percentage has either stayed the same or gone up with a lot more shots, right? Look at Reeves, three-pointers made, same thing. Now Luka's there. JJ Redick was a three-point specialist. He was a three-point killer. Luka Doncic is a three-point killer. Luka Doncic is a pick and roll type player. LeBron James is a pick and roll type player. Now Austin Reeves is a pick and roll type player. This is the culture they've built,